The fourth year produce of a vineyard, Beit Shammai says it is subject neither to the law of the fifth or the law of removal. But Beit Hillel says it is subject to the law of a fifth and to the law of removal. Beit Shammai says that the fourth year produce is subject to the laws of Peret and Eduyos, and the poor people must redeem it for themselves. But Beit Hillel says all of it goes to the owner's winepress. A barrel of olives, pickling, and salt, Beit Shammai said that it does not have to perforate it, but Beit Hillel says that it does have to perforate it. However, Beit Hillel agrees that if one did perforate the barrel, but sediment from the olive blocked it, it is tahor. If one anointed himself with tahor oil and then became tamei and then went down into a mikveh and immersed himself, Beit Shammai said even if he is still dripping with oil after the immersion, he is tahor. But Beit Hillel says enough oil on the person to anoint a small limb. But if the oil was tamei from the start, Beit Shammai says enough oil on the person to anoint a small limb. And Beit Hillel says liquid that moistens. Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Beit Hillel, it makes moist enough to moisten something else. A woman can be betrothed with a dinner or with something worth a dinner, according to the view of Beit Shammai. But Beit Hillel says with a pruta or something worth a pruta. And how much is a pruta worth? 1/8 of an Italian isser. Beit Shammai says one may divorce his wife by giving her an old get, but Beit Hillel prohibits this. What is an old get? Anytime he secludes himself with her after he wrote the get for her. One who divorces his wife and then she lodges with him in an inn, Beit Shammai says she does not need a second get from him, but Beit Hillel says she does need a second get from him. When she was divorced from Nesuin. But if she was divorced from Erison, they agree that she does not need a second get from him because he does not feel at ease with her. Okay.
Okay. Right. Mishna Ches. Beis Shammai matirin is a tzaras la'achin. Now, this is one of the most massive heterim of Beis Shammai. As it happens, I'm learning Yevamos with my chavrusa right now, so this is kind of fresh in the memory. But if you recall, when you have a situation of Yibum, and you have you basically have two brothers, and one of them is married to a woman who is a prohibited relationship to his brother. For example, it could be his daughter. Okay, because the brother is allowed to marry his brother's daughter. Yeah. So the brother is married to other brother's daughter and a second wife. The second wife is called a tzara, the co-wife. Okay, so now if that brother dies, obviously the man can't do yibum on his own daughter. She's an erva. Okay. And since she's an erva, the tzara is prohibited to him, and she's not even in the parish of Yibum. If he's the only surviving brother, then that wife goes free without even chalitza. Okay, that's according to Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai don't learn that principle at all. Okay, they hold that that the tzara is actually permitted for Yibum, and that's so that the surviving brother can do Yibum on the co-wife of his daughter.
But how it says that he can do yibum on the daughter,
on the co-wife, not the daughter herself. Obviously, the daughter herself obviously is also
on the co-wife.
Yes,
and
Beis Hillel say she's not even in the parish of Yibum. She doesn't even need chalitza. Okay, which is a huge thing which has ramifications, as we'll see as the Mishnah continues. Chaltzu. So what happens if the surviving brother did chalitza to this co-wife? Okay. Beis Shammai postin min kahuna. So Beis Shammai say, okay, well, you gave her chalitza, so she's now not allowed to marry a kohen. Beis Hillel machshirin. Beis Hillel say the chalitza was a meaningless act. She didn't require chalitza. All you did was you had a bunch of people doing some mechanical actions that had no ramifications. She was allowed to marry anyway. So she was allowed to remarry without a chalitza. So you did nothing. Okay. In which case, there's no reason why she can't marry a kohen. It was just it's kind of like if a brother puts a ring on his sister and says Harriet Mekadeshesli. Nothing happened. Yeah. Nothing happened. So Beis Hillel say therefore that she would be allowed to marry a kohen. Nisyadmu. Now what happens if they actually did get married? Right? He married the co-wife of his daughter by Yibum. Okay. Beis Shammai machshirin. Beis Shammai say, well, yeah, that's 100% fine. Beis Hillel poslim. They say that's an invalid marriage. There's no such marriage. It didn't happen. right? It's as exactly the same as a brother putting a ring on his sister. You can't get married like that. Or you did a beisur, you married her beisur. Okay, so it was a biasnus. And therefore, not only that, but the children resulting from that union will be mamzerim according to Beis Hillel. Even though these ones asur and these ones matir, lo nimnu beis shammai milisan nashi mi beis Hillel, v'lo beis Hillel milisan nashi mi beis shammai. And they did not refrain from marrying into each other's stock. Why? Because they said, if there were any such cases where one acted not in accordance with the other, if there were a case of a yibum with a tzaras erva, they would tell each other. They would have full disclosure. They say, "Look, we know that you don't hold like this." They were at least respectful, and they didn't have these suspicions of each other that you're a bunch of apikoresim because you do this, or you're makelem, you're whatever. There were no recriminations there. There was still a love between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai that they had that respect. And furthermore, there are plenty of cases where Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai disagree about Tumah and Tara. They had no problem with each other when it came to working in Tumah and Tara. They didn't ask any questions about each other. They had full disclosure and complete respect, even though they had differing opinions. Which is, I love this Mishna because it's such a it's such a thing that kind of wish we could have today.
Yeah.
Should actually write this Mishna and frame it. Okay, moving on. Shlosha achim. 3 brothers. Shnai mehem nisuim l'shtei achayos. Okay, so we're staying in the subject of Yevamos and kulas of Beis Shammai and kulas of Beis Hillel. Okay, so you've got 3 brothers, Reuven, Shimon, Levi. Okay, Shnai mehem nisuim l'shtei achayos. So Reuven and Shimon are married to Rachel and Leah, who are sisters. Okay, the Echad Mufne and Levi is unmarried. So let's just say Reuven dies. Okay. And now Levi said, "Okay, I'll do the yibum." So he can't. So obviously Shimon can't because Shimon's married to her sister. So Levi comes and he does mamar. Mamar is like a kiddushin, but according to Beis Hillel, we'll see. It's only a kiddushin derabanan. The marriage for yibum has to be affected by bia, by having relations. Okay, so he comes and he does the mamar. And then Shimon dies as well. So now the second sister has fallen to him. Now he's got a problem because he's got 2 sisters who have both fallen to him for yibum, and each one of them, if they had both died together, if Shimon and Levi had both died together, he would not be allowed to do yibum, and either one he would have to give each one chalitza, and not just one chalitza because they're 2 separate marriages. They're 2 separate zikas, 2 separate connections for yibum. They have to be severed, so each one would separately need a chalitza, as opposed to.
What do you mean if they died together at the same time? They were in
same time, or they one after the other before Levi marries one of them. Okay, so now, but now Levi has already performed a mamar on Reuven's wife. Beis Shammai say that mamar is a good enough kiddushin. That kiddushin has effectively made Reuven's wife into his wife, and therefore when Shimon's wife, who is now his sister-in-law, he's not allowed to marry her, and she goes free without even a chalitza, because this is she's now an erva to him, and there's no yibum required, no yibum, no chalitza. Beis Hillel omrim, nope. Motzi is ishto beget. He now has to divorce his wife, right? Beget ube chalitza, and he also has to give her a chalitza in order to remove the zika of yibum, because he never really fulfilled the yibum with his first wife. And he also has to give Shimon's wife a chalitza, right? And this, in this particular case, you have to say, woe to him for his wife and woe to him for his brother's wife.
Right. It's very complicated, this thing over here. They give chalitza to both of them.
He has to do to both of them because they're two brothers. If it's in the case of one brother with two wives, he only needs to do chalitza with one of them, because all he needs to do is satisfy the yibum requirements for once, because there's only one brother whose estate needs a yibum / chalitza. He has got two brothers who both need yibum or chalitza, so therefore you're going to need two chalitzas in order to release them both. Okay, so there we go. Is another chumrah of Beis Hillel. All right, Hamadir is ishto tashmish mitzvah. So some guy gets angry with his wife and takes a neder against her that he's not going to have relations with her. That is a marriage ending neder, but they give him a certain amount of time to find a heter for his neder. Okay, and the machlokes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. What just happened? Are you still there? I think we just lost electricity, right?